Today, I'm going to be testing these 3 different filter systems for your camera to see what the differences really are. Now, the 3 filters that I've got today are all 10-stop filters, but you can buy them in different levels of ND, anything from 1 stop right through to 10 stops and even 15 stops in some cases. So I've got this one that fits in between the camera body and the lens. Then there's this one, which either comes in the screw-on or the magnetic type. I've got the magnetic one. And then obviously there's the more traditional square filter that screws on the front of your lens. I'm not talking about the image quality of each of these different brands today, although I will mention that a little bit later. I'm more talking about the practicalities of the different types of filter system. So which one's better for hiking, which one's better for speed, and which one I think is the overall winner and does the most things that you would ever need from a filter system. Now, these clip-in filters are quite new. I've got this one from STC Optics. Now, these ones aren't the ones that go into the back of the lens, because I know there are some lenses with specific slots for filters. These ones are designed to clip into the actual camera, so you can use them with any lens that you own. Now, if any of you are wondering, I did buy this filter myself. It's around about $100, and it's surprising what this little thing can actually do to your photographs. The great thing with these little filters is basically that's all you need for your filtration system. You don't need a holder, you don't need any adapter rings, and you can use it with pretty much any lens that you have. It did actually feel a little bit strange clipping this in because it basically goes into the sensor bay, and I did touch this filter glass a couple of times, so it is really fiddly, and you might need to wipe the filter down after fitting it. Now, even though it is a little bit tricky to fit this, there are a few benefits to using this system. It is compact, as you can see, and it's perfect for long hikes, as all you have is this little filter. It actually comes in a little plastic box, so this can be tucked away in your bag. You don't need a whole area for it, so if you're limited with space in your bag, but you do like taking really long exposures, these are actually really good. The other benefit to this system is that it can be used with any lens. So if you have something like the 14 to 24mm Sigma, you still have the option of using filters without buying specialist filter brackets that fit just on that one lens. Also, lenses like the Samyang 14mm, again with that bulbous front element, you can fit this into the camera body. You still have that filtration again. Also, if you want to change the lens with this system, it's quick and easy. And it's as simple as changing the lens, and you'll get less dirt and dust on the sensor as it's covered by this filter. But with this, initially, when I was fiddling around with it, the sensor was exposed and exposed for longer than normal. So this kind of negates the benefit of having that filter in front of the sensor. The other thing you might be thinking about with this is focusing. Nowadays, most cameras are great at focusing even through 10 stops of ND, and I didn't struggle with this filter in the middle of the day. But when that light drops, your camera will start to struggle, especially as it gets darker and darker and it struggles to see through that strong ND filter. Also, there's no chance of using a graduated filter for this system, so you're stuck with all or nothing. And while we're on the subject of different filters, you can't use a circular polarizer with this either because you don't have access to that filter. So none of the companies would even start to make a circular polarizer in this system. So I think these clip-in filters are really good if you're going on a really long hike and you don't want to carry too much kit. You want to take as little as possible, but you want some kind of ND, or you want some strong ND filters to shoot some really long exposures. Next, I have the more traditional square filter system, and if you've been into photography for any amount of time, you'll probably recognize these. With this system, there's the adapter that fits on the front of your lens that you screw into place. Then there's the bracket that clips onto that. And then lastly, there's the square filter that slots into the front. Now with this system, it's completely separate from the camera system, sitting on the front of your lens on the filter thread. You can change the filters quickly without having to remove the lenses or reset the focus. And you can stack filters easily. Some of them will come with 3 places to put a filter and others will come with 2. So it all depends on what type that you have and what brand that you have. So let's say you wanted some polarization, a strong ND, and then a graduated filter to knock down the brightness of the sky. This is the system that's built for that exact situation. This bracket also rotates on the front of the lens, so you can put a graduated filter in it and you can make sure the point of graduation follows your horizon or follows where that graduation needs to be. Now this system does have its downsides. You have to remove the whole of the filter system if you want to change a lens. So in that respect, it does take a while to change over to a different focal length, especially compared to the little clip-in filters. You can't use this system with those bulbous lenses either, or any lenses that don't have a filter thread, unless you have a specific adapter for that lens. So when you're looking at this filter system compared to the clip-in system, you can see the difference in size. The clip-in filter is great when you're really limited with space, whereas if you've got lots of space in your bag, it's not too bad having this filter system. Next, I have the thread-mounted circular filters. This one that I have is magnetic, although you fit the adapter which screws on to that front thread on your lens, and then this just snaps into place. Once the adapter is there, these are easy to change and you can get a good composition really quickly, set your focus, and then click the filter on the front of your lens. They're also small and compact, especially compared to the bigger square filters. Now, if you have different sized filter threads on a load of different lenses, you basically need to buy the size of filter that'll fit the largest lens that you have. So let's say you have a 77mm lens, a 67mm lens, and a 55mm lens, and I'm talking about the thread size on the front of the lens, you'd have to buy a 77mm set of filters. Then you could get step-down rings to make it fit all of them. Just make sure you get the right size for the lenses that you have or the lenses that you want, maybe on your wish list. Now, I know there are some companies that do make graduated circular filters that fit on the front of your lenses, but the problem with that is you'd have to have the horizon or wherever that point of graduation is bang in the middle. So realistically, you can't get graduated filters for this system. You can get circular polarizers, and the circular polarizers work really well, but there's no chance of proper graduated filters in this system. When it comes to filters, the more glass you shoot through, the more your image will be degraded to a certain level. So you want to get the best quality filters that you can afford. Low quality glass will degrade your images more than the expensive filters. And also, low quality ND filters will tend to put a color cast on your image as well. All three of these systems seem to be fantastic. If you have a lot of lenses with those bulbous front elements, or you go on a lot of really long hikes, get the clip-in filters. If you don't have much room in your bag, get either the clip-in ones or the magnetic ones. And if you have room in your bag, you shoot a lot of landscapes with bright skies and you need to use graduated filters to control the image, get the square filter system. And if you want to learn more about all of the different types of filters you can get for your camera, you need to watch this video next.